Eastern Kentucky tomorrow. I know pace is important. They score a ton of points. They're going to press. They're going to zone, I'd imagine. Just what kind of problems or what kind of things you got to prepare for?
You know, they have athletic guards, you know, guys that can break you down, guys that can score the basketball. They obviously won a lot of possessions. We've played, you know, some teams that are very similar to them in terms of style. And, you know, you have to be able to get quality shots against them. You know, they're really trying to get you to go faster than you want to go. Take tough shots, take floaters, take runners, take contested jump shots. And you got to be able to get, you know, your layups and your dunks. You got to be able to take open threes. If not, you're going to run offense. I think that's the most important thing for us. Just to, you know, run offense if something isn't there. Don't feel like you got to get something every single time. But when it is there, you got to be aggressive. And I think that's, you know, the most important thing. And like I said, we've played teams like them in style, but you know, you still got to be able to execute and get your shot that you want.
What's your view of Will Burke changed in the last year?
No, you know, for us, you know, he didn't make the improvements in his first year because he had bone spurs. You know, he was out for 5 months, 4.5, 5 months. So that, you know, he's someone who's just kept working and kept getting better. You know, I think through competition, it kind of shows you, you know, just being against Zach every single day has really helped him. But more than anything is that he's determined. Like, you know, he's determined to play hard. He's determined to give his best effort. And he comes out every single day and does that. And you can see whether you come to, you know, a game when he gets in and plays 5 minutes, or you come to one of our practices, he's productive.
You've seen his per 40-minute numbers.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Getting up there. How much stock do you put in like the game conditions when guys get in there at the end of those kind of one-sided games?
It's normally harder
for something, right?
Yeah, it's normally harder. You're normally defending them for having bad numbers because that's what normally happens at the end of the game. You know, especially if you're somebody who doesn't play much. Some teams will keep their starters in. You get guys that have been playing the whole game, and now you come in there, and then you're getting people. And there's times you're just getting people minutes, and you don't have the right mix of guys in there. But what are you supposed to do? Just not play a couple guys? So you don't do it. You play guys to get them minutes because they deserve to get those minutes. But we actually have a pretty good flow for the end of the game. But for him, he's always going to play the same position. He's always going to guard the biggest guy. And he's just, you know, he's got a good nose for the ball. He's always around the basketball, and just seems like he gets himself ready in those situations where I always thought it was difficult to sit there for an hour, 45 minutes and then try to play productive minutes.
Obviously, holiday break's only a couple days on the calendar for you guys, but Big Ten now. What is this time of year as a team and just a mindset that you guys gotta lock into now for the long haul?
Yeah, you know, just trying to get, you know, back and playing games. You know, you have your routine, and I think that's more than anything. You get out of your routine. You know, we took 4 to 5 days off, and now getting back, you don't want to overdo it, but you want them to have their win and be ready to play. So for us, you know, this is a big game. You know, Eastern Kentucky, you win, you know, you're undefeated in non-conference. There's not a lot of people in the country that can say that. Nobody in the country can say they've done it for 3 years in a row. We'd be the only team that can say that. So, you know, it's a pretty big accomplishment because we've played this year the second or third best, you know, schedule in the country. So it's not like we got a great record and we didn't play people. We played a lot of really good teams, and I think it's really going to help us in conference play.
Do you have a good feel for how you want to use these guys once it gets to Big Ten play? Are you going to stick with kind of what's worked so far? Is the same rotations?
Yeah, I think so. You know, obviously you get into games. There's been a couple games where I didn't play, maybe an individual or two in the second half, things of that nature. You just got to kind of play it by ear. Normally it works itself out, and I'm not at 10 right now, and I'm still at 10. So it's really, you know, a tip of the hat to those guys, because when you look at, you know, Ethan and you look at Miles and you look at Cam, they've all had, you know, really good spurts. You know, there's no way that those guys can be consistent with inconsistent minutes, right? You're not going to play anywhere from 4 to 18 minutes and then be a consistent player in inconsistent minutes. It's impossible. But when they've gotten opportunities, they've all played well, whether it's knocking down shots or guarding or taking care of the basketball, whatever it is. All three of those guys have really helped us.
How have these practices kind of been over break, and how do you continue playing at a high level? Kind of like what you said earlier about, obviously it's different routine, different schedule.
Just trying to get to where like you're valuing the basketball. Like, you get some time off, you get some slippage, make sure you're fundamentally sound, make sure you understand, what we're trying to do, just having that purpose. I think that's so important for our team. But you can see when you get 4 days off, there's slippage without question. So you just try to stay on them from a concentration standpoint more than anything.
I know it's not necessarily what you aspire to. How much would it mean for the program to do that 30 straight undefeated non-conference season?
Well, it hasn't been done before in our league. It's rarely been done. I think Duke did it in the early 90s. UCLA might have done it, 4 or 5 times, through the tenure of it. I don't know the actual stats. I know Syracuse did it once. It's pretty impressive. Our guys have really battled, and we put ourselves in some tough venues, especially neutral court venues against quality teams. So I think it's more than anything, you're trying to put yourself in the best position going into the tournament, more than anything. And I think when you're there, you're always going to get notched up against somebody, or really a lot of people, depends on where you are, on the seed line. But you're going to be able to, obviously have that feather in your cap in terms of saying, we were undefeated. So anytime you play a tough strength of schedule, it's going to help you in that room. There's teams that get left out of the whole tournament just because they don't have a very difficult schedule. And now they're not finding reasons to put you in. They're finding reasons to keep you out, which is tough because being on that bubble gets really sticky. But we're trying to separate ourselves on those seed lines and put ourselves in a great position.
Has your team played its best game?
Oh, I don't think so. Not at all. Not at all. We got to make a lot of strides from a defensive standpoint to be able to play our best. I think we've done some really good things offensively. We've been efficient, and we've had some guys really step up and play. Our numbers are better defensively than they were last year at this point, but we still got a lot of season to play. We've made strides, but I don't think we've played at an elite level by any stretch of the imagination.
You mentioned last week that Sasha's really hung his hat on baseline out of bounds plays. How has he really, helped you in that regard? And I know you always have the safety valve, just throw it into Zach, but seems like there's some more quick hitters, things like that you can.
Yeah, we depends on what you do and how you defend it. If you're gonna do some different things, a 1-3-1, or switching and put your center on the ball, we're not going to risk things. We're just going to lob it up to Zach and then run something afterwards. I hate turnovers in those situations. But if you play it straight up and you do some things straight up, we're going to try to execute some things to steal it, without overdoing things. We're not going to spend 3 hours of practice doing it. But no, Sasha, that's what he does. He does the side out of bounds, and he does the out of bounds plays. He helps PJ with the overall offense. But it allows someone to be hooked up on it, and specialize on it, and really, try to find things to execute against certain teams and how they defend the out of bounds and the side out of bounds, so we can steal points. You got to steal points somewhere. I always talk about it in transition and on the glass, but there's other parts of the game like this that you can steal some points.
You guys have kind of been on the wrong side of Carson left early for the NBA, Jaden left early for the NBA. Do you think in terms of Zach coming back as kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime chance that a guy who was good enough to be in the NBA comes back with the team kind of loaded?
Yeah, but I think it's something for him that, he felt like he made the best decision for himself. Those guys made, obviously Jaden has to do that. You're the 5th pick of the draft. Carson put himself in a very, very good position. So he really had to do it too.
Right.
He didn't have to do it, but he played so well. How are you gonna play better than that in that stretch and put yourself in a better position? It probably kind of depends on the depth of that next year's draft, and that's hard to project sometimes, right? But no, he still made the right decision. I don't think we've had anybody leave early and make the right decision.
Right. No, I just meant for you.
Yeah.
Does it feel like this is a chance? Those teams are set up to have those guys.
Right.
Generally, you plan it out 4 years. Does it kind of feel like a second chance to have?
Yeah, the thing is, we have the same schedule without him if he stays in. So it's brilliant on my part, right? But it's also, there's some teams that have schedules like that have taken some losses. And when it comes to the tournament, it's not going to hurt them. You know, getting beat by the number 2 ranked team in the country, number 7th ranked team in the country, it's not going to hurt you in that room. Now, it would help you if you won them. But, no, I think, you know, for him, it's also his story. Like, you know, it's not something where he thought when he was 15 or 16, hey, I got a chance to be an NBA player. What, even playing basketball? You know, and so, like, he has a different story. He's made such great strides in this environment at Purdue. Like, he just felt simply like, I'm going to make, you know, those kind of strides again at Purdue. Why should I risk going to the G League? He was going to get an NBA contract and play in the G League is what he was going to happen. And he needs to play, right? So if he can't get in a rotation, he needs to play. So that's so important. Guys don't understand that sometimes. They look at it as such a demotion, but the way you get treated at Purdue versus the way you travel and get treated in the G League, people don't realize it's a big difference. The money's good, right? But different landscape now, right? So, and we obviously benefited from it, but I think in the long run he benefits from it too.